Okay, so 4 chapters in now. I'm not gonna lie, this chapter had me very mixed. There was one thing in particular, and we're gonna talk about it. One thing that had me like, ugh, regarding Hachimaru. But we're gonna talk again. We're gonna talk about it because the chapter it was a mixed bag for me, and there was a lot of influence and things. And again, for Kishimoto, it just seems like, is this a new thing that Kishimoto and a lot of authors are going into? But yeah, let's jump into it.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
So this chapter of Samurai 8, this is going to be a brief, I don't know if you would call it a review, because quite a few things happened, a lot of things to digest, but there was some very simplistic elements that kind of had me a little bit disappointed. And again, that was towards the end of the chapter, but I guess let's kind of just jump into it and then I'll go in, because it might turn into a rant, I'm not going to lie. That's how deep I feel regarding Hachimaru and certain things that happened towards the end of the chapter. But in the chapter, in that show is giving us context to giving limits to the powers, such as like that dog that Hachimaru is on, Hayatoro, his dog, can't like go to the stars, for example. So again, it's giving me a Mega Man feel. It feels like everything is coming full circle now with stories. Like we're headed back to when we was like in the 80s and the Mega Man type stories and stuff like that. Because this chapter, one of the things I want to talk about real quick, and maybe y'all gonna feel a little bit certain way, but I gotta keep it honest. One of the things that I really appreciated, and I've started noticing a lot of these elements more and more as we keep on reading through Samurai 8, regarding a different series again, was the series Eden Zero by the creator of Fairy Tail. And when that series came out, and it just came out, what, last year? Or, yeah, I want to say it was sometime last year. And I really appreciated that. I was like, okay, it's going futuristic, it's doing a lot of science fiction elements and things like that. And Samurai 8, the more I'm reading it, one of the things is like this chapter again, when you get the insides of the cat, the samurai cat, stuff like that, it felt very Eden Zero. This manga feels very inspired. Like, I don't know if Kishimoto, he had his sci-fi idea, and then he's seen what Hiro Mashima did with Eden Zero and kind of got inspired to go that route, because again, it just feels like artistically, like the cat, the insides, and again, I'm not saying that, oh my god, he created that, but the way the structure is, it really feels a lot like Eden Zero. A lot of this, so far, collecting the keys and things like that. Again, Eden Zero, which it's not the originator of that story, and a lot of this goes back into like Japanese folklore and a lot of different things. So yeah, you could argue that, okay, it's inspired at the very least, and I'm not ranting about that per se, as I'm not upset about it. But one of the things I appreciated about Naruto, and maybe even early on, because I remember early on people did hate on Naruto and said like, yo, the jumpsuit and the blonde hair is like Super Saiyan Goku. So maybe that's the thing that we're gonna get with this one in terms of it's early on. So when it's a manga's early on and it's inspired by things, it kind of gets a little hectic, and that's how I feel. Maybe a lot of people haven't checked out Eden Zero yet, and if you have, let me know. Am I right that it feels very similar to Eden Zero? It almost feels like they could coincide in the same universe, like Hachimaru's just on another planet that they haven't went to yet, the main characters of Eden Zero. So, and that'd be a crazy crossover, and especially now that I think about it, hold on a second, here's a crazy thing, and this is kind of outside of this, but Shonen Jump and Shonen Magazine recently did some type of partnership magazine where they combined for a big issue release, and they had the characters of the different magazines together. What if there's a possibility that we could have a crossover with Samurai 8 and Eden Zero? And that's one of the things that helps, is the fact that they're very similar in nature, that Samurai 8 could just be, right now, Hachimaru's journey could just be on another planet. That would be freaking insane. Thinking outside the box, sometimes, who knows, maybe, with everything that's happening in Japan, a lot of the magazines are working closer now. Things are getting a little bit better, so I'd love to see that. So we find out a little bit more, of course, about the cat. His real identity is Daruma, which this is again a classic thing I've seen in different series about this certain. So like, even if you go to Bleach, look at Bleach, Yoruichi, it's kind of similar, where you look at the first character that we see in the beginning of the story, that's with like the samurai, that looks like the Sage of Six Paths, looks a lot like Yoruichi, right? So Daruma, they just kind of, switch things around. Daruma essentially is kind of like that scenario. And another thing that kind of caught me, which I'm like, again, maybe it goes back into my theory of this being the futuristic, or the future of the Narutoverse, something like that. The soul that Daruma, or what he looked like in the past, looked like that Naruto character that Hachimaru was playing as, the one that has like the Zoro scar through his eye and stuff like that. I can't wait for the day, because what's gonna happen when Daruma finally turns back into his true form. Essentially, Masashi Kishimoto is bringing the Naruto design into this manga, because that's very Naruto-like. It's just, again, with like a scar over his eye, but that's gonna be badass too when it happens. I'm calling foreshadowings all over the place. And the big meat of it all is that they're trying to save the planetary belt that's going to be annihilated, and this cat cat is looking for the box with the keys, stuff like that. A lot of elements of like Pandora's box, and if he opens it, what'll happen. So it also gives me vibes a little bit. If you go back to, again, another thing, maybe, you know, who knows, maybe behind the scenes Masashi Kishimoto's a big fan of Hiro Mashima's work, because it also reminds me of Rave Master, kind of the whole dire situation. I think the element that made this a little bit more exciting as well is the fact that the Earth is in dire, you know, trouble, because if the planetary belt, you know, is annihilated, we're done for. And I want to kind of just jump over a couple of elements, because there was a little bit more regarding, you know, the father and finding out Hachimaru's one of the keys, or kind of pushing more even forth that he's one of these keys to the box or whatever. But this is where it gets a little bit rantish. I'm not even gonna lie. And this is where I'm starting to wonder, like, is this how Masashi Kishimoto sees children these days, or is that the stereotype, or is that really just how children are? Because the end of the chapter, when Daruma's like, okay, you could come on this journey with me, and he crosses the line and he says, and by the way, the whole Samurai 8 thing, okay, his favorite number is 8, Samurai 8 crossing the line, whatever, and a lot of more deep, complex elements to it. But he says, if you cross that line, you will never be able to live with your father again, right? Following me? Something like that. Look at Hachimaru's father. He was very overprotective for a reason. He protected him because he was like this rare thing. He loved him. He cared about him. The argument that they had, it felt like a very realistic thing. If you take the concept, you take out all the futuristic robotic stuff or whatever, essentially a son that was forced to stay in his home because the father cared about him, and he never got to go outside, even had ways to go outside and the father would lie, you know, like the life support pack. So I understand that Hachimaru is a kid that is right now very upset with his father because he never got to go outside, and he's finding out that his father purposely kept him in. But it just felt like, wow, in one panel, this kid said, hey father, I know that you loved me my whole life, I know that you protected me and everything like that, but you know what, this cat and my calling to be a samurai, this is what you get, Pops, okay? Father, this is what you get, because I'm walking away. In one panel, Hachimaru decides he's never going to live with his father again, and that's it. So, right there, more foreshadowing. I bet when he comes back, his father's going to be dead. That's the reason he'll never be able to live with his father again. I bet you anything, because there was also foreshadowing that Hachimaru's father is being hunted down by somebody that were coming from him. So, probably give it 6 chapters. We'll come back. It'll be a wrap for Hachimaru's Pops. But that really kind of made me feel like, yo, and it reminded me of early Boruto as well, that spoiled nature of like one panel, and I know maybe it's faster paced stuff now with manga, but one panel you decide to never see the father that loved you and cared about you all these years again. One panel, that's how long it took Hachimaru. When we get the anime, that better take a little bit more than fucking 1 second, I'm telling you right now, because that's a big life choice. Again, he's a kid that is upset with his father and feeling like he was lied to, but still, I am like, Hachimaru, cut it out. Cut it out. We don't need to start off on some worlds. It's like, okay, I get it. This is shonen manga that we need growth and change, and we're seeing how immature, and it's going to cost him dearly. I can almost guarantee when Hachimaru pops, or when Hachimaru comes back, his pops will be slain, dead, or missing, something along the lines of that. And maybe that'll distract the mission from collecting these keys, because then he's going to have to hunt after his father, similar to like how Naruto wanted to become Hokage, but then got distracted by chasing Sasuke. So this would be a little bit more reasonable, like, hey, that's his pops. But man, I don't know. I'm upset about that. The great setups and world building is cool and all that, but Hachimaru, bro, we don't need Boruto right now. That's early Boruto, and I don't dig that. I don't dig early Boruto, so that's the gripe that I have with this chapter. Otherwise, a lot of setup. I can see people being overwhelmed. I can see people being like, I can't rock with this because there's too much information. It's Hunter x Hunter-like without a core following, so it's going to be a slippery slope. I know that there's going to be a lot of backing behind this. Shonen Jump really believes in it. I think so far it's great. I'm starting to look a little bit at Hachimaru closer, like, I don't know, kid. Right now, you're looking a little, ooh. But then again, maybe that's the Gon Freaks in him. I did say that he's kind of like Gon Freaks. Gon Freaks, he would tell his pops, yo, I'm out of here. Not even thinking twice. So maybe that's the unpredictable nature of Hachimaru. Maybe we should look at it in terms of, like, that's a good thing in terms of he's unpredictable, makes for a more interesting character, still makes for like, bro, you should have thought a little bit more about your pops. I'm just saying. Kind of curious what you guys think about this though. Does this make you look a little bit more at Hachimaru like, bro, what are you doing? One panel? Or am I overreacting? I mean, I've seen quite a few people feeling the same way, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know. And your overall thoughts of everything, Daruma, where do you think this is going? Again, do you think there's a possibility we can see a crossover with Eden Zero? Now that Shonen Jump and Shonen Magazine are kind of rubbing elbows a little bit, I'd love it. I think it'd be great for the industry. I think it'd bump both of them up. Two huge creators. it'll be historic. You know, we've had already the historic things of One Piece crossing over with Dragon Ball and Toriko, whatever. But, you know, now that would be even huge. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Fairy Tail is better than, because Toriko fans are going to be like, oh, you said, oh, for Toriko. But, yeah, those are my favorites. I'm allowed to have my preference or whatever. Well, Fairy Tail's not a favorite, but I rock with it. I reviewed it for a long time, and I enjoy a lot of things of it. So, again, your thoughts on that. And your overall expectations, Samurai, 4 chapters in. I'm not being overly critical, because I'm telling you right now, it's still very enjoyable, very good. Hachimaru just, I'm wondering, where is it? Is it a Boruto-like character, or is it an unpredictable Gon Freaks-like character where he's like, the mission, the samurai, you know, one of the things I'll describe is a samurai can't hesitate. A true samurai doesn't hesitate. Hachimaru didn't hesitate, so maybe that goes along with the mission, and us as people were just misinterpreting and misunderstanding it. But that's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit the bell to get all notifications. I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit that bell, because, you know, YouTube be crazy. You can get all my videos if you hit it. Get all notifications. Just play, but please hit that bell. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm for Netherworld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. Can't forget the music though. Hold on, let me play y'all a little something.
Make sure your next move is your best move. Feeling smart, but I guess less. But always remember, no matter the weather, I was there October